everybody.
Hey, everybody.
How we doing?
Hello?
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I am one of your hosts for the evening. I'm one of the boys chillaxing, ending the summer here talking about some WCW. My name's Dizzle. I'm here with my big brother Dutchie.
Yo.
And we're here with the main man, Mr. Rubber Band, Money E.
What up, people? How are you boys?
Thank God we started the show when we did because he was starting to give fantasy advice. And I saw one of his fantasy football drafts a few weeks ago. I turned it off halfway through because I just thought it sucked.
Hey,
Okay. I think you try your best. But all right, here we go. We got a big wrestling list tonight. If you are a fan of wrestling and you're not necessarily a WWE guy and you love WCW, like these two, and first of all, we love WWE too, but I would say, at least speaking for myself, but I think I can speak for Doug too, WCW is our favorite company.
Oh, yeah.
That's ever existed.
100%. Like, I would take, because even though WCW was full of, like, mismanagement, a lot of the stuff, like,
Such good wrestling.
was a lot more enjoyable. And the best part about WCW is there was no Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Yep.
There was no fucking big overlord that ran the whole show. And yes, that could bring spotty shit sometimes, but it could also have wrestling be pure, genuine wrestling, which was nice too.
Yeah.
Because now, even like going back on the network after with all the Vince stuff now, it feels like I'm watching like Hitler raid something. Yeah, like it's nothing wrong. Like, and I love WWE. I grew up on WWE. I didn't grow up on WCW. Was dead when I was a boy. I mean, well, actually, it was hot when I was born, but when I started really watching, when I kind of knew what was going on, at least a little bit, like 4 or 5, when I was like, "Ooh, Goo Gaga rock," like that's when about 5 years old. That was like WCW was over. It's like 2001, 2002.
I tried to get Goldberg to be your first word.
Really?
Yes,
my God.
I tried.
Goldberg.
I tried. I'm like, say Goldberg, say Goldberg.
That's funny.
funny.
And I was just like, and mom and dad are looking at me like, no, like, don't do that. I'm like, say Goldberg.
That's hilarious.
And
I
then-
wish it would have.
And
Why
then
Goldberg?
I don't know. I think because I had a Goldberg shirt on,
Oh,
but then like I had a Stone Cold shirt too, and then dad was just like, get him to say Stone Cold or somebody good, or get him to say Rock. And then like when you were saying like dad and all that, like you did say you're like cold, and we're like, all right,
We did
not
it.
what I wanted, but and then you're like Rock.
Was I looking at a rock? Or was I just-
No, you were looking at a Rock on TV. I used to hold you up to the TV because the way Dad and I always watched TV back in the day was we never sat the fuck down. We would always stand up and just watch the wrestling. So I would have you in my arm. He would be standing next to me. And by the way, you are his son, despite how many blood tests we try to take. And I'm the one holding you.
You're holding me. That's why when people are like, dude, why do you like wrestling so much? It's like, I was held as a baby in front of the screen. It's in my blood. Like, what am I supposed to do?
But that's how I was. That's how I was kind of raised too. It was the same thing. But Dad held me. Either Dad or Grandpa held me into the screen. They would watch wrestling all the time, even though Grandma was just like, "No, he don't subject him to that."
I'm
And
sitting
here we
there
are,
at
39,
Saber's titties, and I'm like,
39 years later,
yeah.
or 38 years later. Sorry.
But we haven't officially, we're having good fun already. We haven't officially, hey, we're getting sidetracked. We're doing great so far. Our big show tonight is the top 50 WCW wrestlers of all time.
Yes,
We have curated this through a fan vote, through different groups in Facebook, through our own Wrestling Through the Years. Make sure to join that. And other groups too. I don't know if they even want us plugging them, but we've shared it in other groups and got a bunch of votes, and we're here.
1,200 vote. About 1,200 votes were cast. The other group, this video will technically be playing. Well, not in the group. You have to click on the video in order to watch the stream, but it is in that other group. And as far as I know, I didn't get kicked out of it. So
So we're good.
Yeah.
This is a really fun one for me. I like hearing what the people. Basically, I'm going to read off the list. Doug's going to give a little biography because these are human Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So he's going to give a little gist on it, and then we're going to all react to where the list, because this isn't our opinions, even though we probably agree with most of this list because we love WCW. We're big, and Eric, I know you're a fan too. When we go back and watch, you like the shit too. Even though you grew up on WWF, I know you like WCW too.
Yeah.
Man, didn't you start watching it during the wars?
Yeah, I started watching WCW around I think NWO or before that. I don't even know how I got into wrestling. I think I just saw it on TV one day and just was glued to the TV.
Yeah. Well, I think you told me you started watching in like 95, so that would have made you like 10 years old. You didn't start clear out of the womb like we did.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, so I don't know how I forget how I watched wrestling. Me and my brother. I mean, my brother was only 3 years old, so.
Yeah. Also, he came out of the womb watching it.
I think so, yeah. About 95, 96-ish.
So
that's when Shawn Michaels became a big name, bigger star.
Shawn Michaels, and that's why you're such a big Shawn Michaels fan.
Yeah. It was probably around WrestleMania 12 where I started.
100%.
Okay.
That's we all have deep histories. We love this shit. WCW is something we really enjoy, so it's going to be fun talking about all those guys. We'll get into it very soon. We usually do our worker of the week at the beginning here, where we talk about our favorite stuff. Obviously, AEW All In was last week, so we could spend an hour doing that and then be here till midnight. We're not going to do that. Me and Eric are thinking about doing a bonus show either tomorrow or later on in the week, and we'll do a full All In review.
Yep.
Quick worker of the week. I'm going to go MJF because he's the best heel in the business. And he put on a great show. Just say a name, Eric.
I'm going. Oh, sorry, Doug.
No, don't say sorry. I didn't know why I handed you the mic like you were going to talk. Who's your pick?
Mariah May.
That's a good pick.
She's a fantastic. She's probably one of the best female heels in the business right now.
Yeah. That's a good pick. All right, Doug, who do you got?
I've got Will Ospreay, the man who had that fantastic match with MJF.
Yep.
Yeah. Quick plug. Not only tomorrow might they do the AEW All In stream or All In review, but Eric and I will also be doing a When Tunes Combine. It's Scooby-Doo or not Scooby-Doo. Why the fuck do I
Simpsons, Jetsons.
Simpsons, Jetsons, The Mask, and He-Man.
Yep.
So that's
I've been plugging it all every show I've been doing, so I have it in my head.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Doug.
I appreciate that, Eric. But yeah, so that'll be tomorrow as well. And we almost ready to get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Trying to find the link to send to our homie that's asking for it. But all right, yeah. Let's.
Do you have it subscribed?
I mean, I get the fucking. No, I don't know. I think I do.
Well, I always have to find.
Eric, send me the link. All right. Top 50. You ready?
Yeah.
Top 50. All right. And we start out our list with 7 votes this man got. He lost one of the tiebreakers, apparently. But at number 50, we have one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. To me, one of the fucking main men on planet Earth. One of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. And a fucking stellar cruiserweight in the WCW cruiserweight division. Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that. Yep.
So, all right, quick backstory on that, and then I'll actually get into how he got on the countdown. But so former 2-time television champion, 2-time cruiserweight champion, former holder of the J Crown, which he actually did defend in WCW a couple of times, including against Rey Mysterio of World War III. Very colorful character. he got on this. So when we had 3 open spots available and 7 guys that were tied for those 3 spots. And Dragon got the least amount of the 3 that made the countdown. So he ended up taking number 50. But so he's a guy who definitely he was one of the pioneers of that cruiserweight division, even though like you could say like, Liger and all that too, because they started the light heavyweight division, but he really helped bring forward that Mexican lucha libre style of the cruiserweight division. And he had really good matches with Ray, had really good matches with Dean Malenko, really good matches with Jericho. Also really good matches with Eddie Guerrero. Psychosis. I mean, you name it back in those days. He even had really good matches with Chavo Guerrero.
Oh, he's in it. I'm fucking said it all this time. I just got the text. He said, Ultimo Dragon, one of the greatest cruiserweights of all time, 100%. My one of my favorite WCW matches is him and Rey Mysterio at that World War III.
Yeah.
His work just because to me he brought like a legitimacy, like a seriousness. Like it wasn't just high flying bullshit and circus act shit. Like I love the lucha libre style and they're awesome too. But he just felt like legitimate. Like same thing with Dean Malenko. I'm sure we'll get to him and stuff. But I just like he brought this badassery to him, and the outfit was fucking cool. The WWE music I liked a lot too, but that's a different.
And his manager was Sonny Ono, right?
Sonny Ono, yeah.
Sonny Ono.
You're a big fan.
Oh.
We're friends with him on Facebook, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just because I was trying to get noticed by some people, and his name happened to be up on the people you may know list, or I don't know. I didn't even know how it happened. I don't even think I sent him the episode.
I like Sonny Ono.
I do too.
Yeah, I know. Torture me, why don't you?
Nah, I mean he wasn't the best manager for sure. You got any thoughts on Ultimo? Easy.
Yeah, I think he was underrated, and I think he should have been higher on this list.
Well, that is not our fault.
No,
I know.
And I don't disagree. I think he's at the perfect spot though. For his impact and what he did for the company, I think 50 is a pretty comfortable spot for him.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because we're going to have guys now. There's a couple of guys on this list where it's just like, I don't know. But again, we dealt with old school groups here.
Yeah.
Because I put these in groups that would know the territory of WCW, and they had to, they're like one is a 70s, 80s, and 90s group. So they see 70s, 80s, and 90s names. So they're going to be like, oh, well, we'll put this person on here. Even though this person may have only wrestled for WCW for like 6 months, but they were an NWA name. So
yeah,
exactly.
But so Dragon, because Dragon beat out, and I'll say this with no problem. Dragon beat out the Barbarian, Bam Bam Bigelow, the British Bulldog, and Big Bubba.
Damn.
Wow, Bam Bam didn't make it?
No.
That's crazy. Or Bulldog.
Or Bulldog.
I mean, I'm more surprised that Bubba didn't make it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was big in the NWA, right?
In the NWA, but when he came back in 94, 95, and had the run as Big Bubba Rogers again, and had the feud with Duggan, and he was the Hogan's opponent on the first Nitro, so he had he did have a little bit of a run, and then of course they tried to turn him into a biker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dragon beat out some guys to even get on this countdown. I mean, I'm just glad he made the countdown. I know you are.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be there, but I don't know if I would put him that much higher, to be honest.
Yeah.
He never was in a main event or nothing.
Not really. I mean, you may have main evented pro or worldwide.
Was the tiebreaker close?
Yeah, he almost had the poll run for another hour, and we got like 2 or 3 votes. He probably would not have made it. He only beat Bubba by a vote.
Oh wow. Okay.
All right. Next up. At 49, we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who's always been a fucking character, but I'm surprised to see him on a WCW list. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Because I think I
He's more
remember a
Duggan
lot
guy.
of and a lot of his shit wasn't that great there.
No, I think the tape fist thing that he did when he was having the tape fist matches in 95, 96, and he was, still kind of like a prominent part, but then 97, 98,
Yeah.
he really didn't. But then like they kind of had the resurgence with him, where they turned him into the janitor and like the goofy character, but he made it work. He's a former United States champion, which I think is one of the things that people realized when they voted.
Yeah.
So, and also too, I mean, he got into WCW because Hulk Hogan called him and said, "Come on in."
Well, yeah, like everybody else. But I just remember him doing like bad shit with Lance Storm.
Yeah, I don't remember his stuff in WCW. To be honest.
So
my boy,
we appreciate that. We appreciate that, Shawnee boy. Just don't laugh at us too hard. Pay attention to what you're doing on the road.
Yeah. All right. And I thought Hacksaw doesn't really belong to me. I don't know. This is one I kind of disagree with.
Yeah.
If it was a different list, and Hacksaw is a legend, but I don't know about WCW.
If we ever do like a golden era list, which that will be a plan.
Oh yeah,
then obviously, but like golden era, like you might have to do like more than 50 because there were so many, but that's like neither here nor there, and I don't really want to give myself another big project right now.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Especially when I think most of my pens exploded. Yeah, I still have blue ink all over. But yeah, as far as Duggan's WCW run, 94-ish when he came in, and 95 maybe, were decent years for him.
Yeah.
And after 95, it's just like, all right, he's there.
Yeah.
I mean, like Ming's like first ever mainstream match in WCW was a martial arts match, and Duggan was his opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think he really belonged there or on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just because Hacksaw Duggan looks like Chuck Norris, if he let his body go, doesn't mean that Duggan belongs in a martial arts match.
Who did he beat out? Obviously, like Bam Bam. And,
obviously, Dragon and the same guys.
He beat Ultimo.
Yeah.
All right, and number 48, unless we got more Hacksaw talk.
no.
Nah.
I mean, he is a legend. I feel bad talking about him in that way, but just in terms of WCW,
he's one of my favorite guys ever. But I can't say his WCW run was memorable. I mean, he did like I said, the tape fist thing was kind of cool.
The shit in 2000, fuck that. When you brought him back,
yeah. When you brought him back just to have Goldberg kidney punch him after he admitted that he had kidney cancer,
it's fucked up.
Yeah, like no, like I didn't like that stuff. So Hacksaw Duggan, all-time legend. When we do a golden era, WWF golden era list, obviously he'll be on there. If we ever do a Mid-South list, he'll be on there.
Yes.
But here
WWF.
Huh?
WWF 90s.
Right,
Yes.
that's the golden era.
Oh, okay, duh.
Well, late 80s or
late 80s, early 90s is golden era, yeah.
All right, boys. Number 48, and someone who I think maybe this is the right spot, or maybe even a little higher. Road Warrior Animal.
All right, so I think, well, first of all, I am so glad that my address is not in these Facebook groups, because there were people, because originally I left him off.
Yeah.
Because I was doing singles, right?
Right.
Single wrestlers. That's why, like, you won't really find, like, the members of Public Enemy on the list or anything like that. Well, Harlem Heat, because they did kind of have single runs, they are on here. Well, one of them
Booker,
is.
yeah, one of them, obviously. So.
Yeah. But like, so I was doing single runs, so it's just like, Hawk had more of a singles run in the company than Animal did, right? Animal singles run came towards the end, so it's like, all right, maybe not the best idea to put him on. Well, it was a bad idea to leave him off.
Yeah,
because people are just like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, you can't put Hawk on here and not Animal. I kind of did.
Fuck them.
And they're like, well, you're kind of an idiot. And I'm like, I kind of know.
Well, if they have an issue, that's what they can do, Doug.
Yeah. Woohoo. But Animal, so obviously him and Hawk, former NWA tag team champions, couple of occasions. And they, one of the greatest tag teams of the 80s and also into the 90s, one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Road Warrior pop is a thing for a reason. Exactly. They were the biggest. I mean, like NWA territory and WCW kind of like is the NWA, like an extended version of it. So he's a fucking legend when it comes. If there's a WCW Hall of Fame, the Road Warrior's got to go. Yeah, like he deserves to be here tenfold.
Yeah, he definitely deserves to be on this list tenfold because he did. He really helped get the company started.
Yeah, it's weird because people think, well, he wasn't there for the NWO and shit like that, and they might just remember him coming out at what was it, Greed or Sin when Sid broke his leg, and he was the mystery opponent. But no, but like the beginning, the building blocks, and like the Mid Atlantic territory and NWA and all that. The Road Warriors.
That would be me. That doesn't remember him in WCW.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he was there for the NWO stuff or anything, but
no. He left. His last appearance in the company was Slamboree '96 because him and Hawk were on opposite sides in that lethal lottery match.
Yeah,
they didn't want to do it. They did not want to wrestle each other. But they're like, look, just kind of do this, and they were already having problems with Bischoff to begin with. So basically they said, this is our last night. We're not touching each other. We're not wrestling each other. We know the fans want to see it, but we're done.
We're done.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that was his that was him, and that was Hawk's last night in the company ever.
And Hawk is like my preferred Road Warrior, obviously, but Laurinaitis was still a badass.
Yeah. Hawk
and may they both rest in peace.
Yes. Absolutely. And for a spoiler alert, yes, Hawk will be on the countdown later on. You got
what the fuck?
What?
Spoilers.
I said spoiler alert before I said it.
That's true. All right. Next up, we have at number 47 with 8 votes compared to the last 3 that had 7. Jushin Thunder Liger.
So this one is, and I got a lot of flack. I think they're like, why is he on a WCW countdown? Like, he wasn't really WCW. It's like he made WCW appearances. And by the way, and I got all this flack when I was doing the tiebreakers. And I'm like, in the groups that voted for him, by the way.
Yeah.
They're like, he's not a WCW guy. They're like, you idiots voted for him.
And everyone remembers that first Nitro with him and Pillman.
Yeah. They also remember Super Brawl 2 with him and Pillman.
Yeah, they put on great matches. So I think he definitely deserves to be there. And he kind of ushered in that style.
Yeah. I mean, and don't forget also, he had a run with the light heavyweight title. He beat Pillman on a Christmas night in 1991. Held the title for almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a classic match with Brian Pillman at Super Brawl 2. They had the match on Nitro. He's wrestled Conan. He wrestled Conan at Slamboree. He's wrestled Ray Jr.
Yeah.
That was an awesome match at Starrcade 96.
Oh, yeah. That was a great match.
He wrestled Dragon too, right?
Yeah.
And Malenko.
Yep. Dragon Malenko.
All the big names.
Yeah. So he definitely belongs on a list like this because because every match he had, he never had a bad match.
Yeah, I think it should be in the 30s, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's like, and again, I mean, really, it's out of our control.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
I mean, because again, this was a fan vote. If this was, first of all, if it was just me putting this list together, I probably would have gone on like a full 100, and then we'd be here all freaking night.
Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, I could write down like 200, 300 WCW guys for sure.
Yeah.
There's so many good, and there's so, like, that's why it's like, who deserves it, who doesn't. I'm here, like, we're here more to celebrate as well, like the guys' careers, and like this is a celebratory. If you made the top 50, you're the shit, you're the tits.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we're gonna have an opinion, like maybe we don't think, like Hacksaw, we don't really think he deserves it, but it's still not it's not an attack on.
We'll do our own list sometime, maybe top 20 or something.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's fun for the fan vote.
Oh yeah,
I
like
love doing these fan votes just because, like, we don't know really what to expect. Like when we get to the top 10, I mean, you're looking at it right now. When we get to that top 10, we're like, we're gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's some obvious ones that you would think will be there, but we'll get
number one. Who I think it is? No, I don't even say.
All right. Next up, any other Liger comments?
No,
just a legend.
Yeah, he's just a legend. All right, at number 46, with 8 votes, Wildfire Tommy Rich.
All right, so this is the one. I'm not. Again, I put him as an option. I actually left him off as an option on one poll, but put him on another.
Yeah.
And he got enough votes to just skate into this thing.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, not skate into it. He's 5 spots up. But
I never saw him wrestle, so I don't know.
So he's because he's no more known. He's a Georgia guy. Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Former NWA champion.
That's where he won the NWA title. When he came into WCW in '89, when they brought him in, he was doing jobs. But he did get kind of a big break. He's a former 2-time WCW 6-man tag team champion. First time was with Junkyard Dog and Ricky Morton.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Are those 2 on the list?
JYD, no. Ricky Morton, yes. Quit making me spoil the list.
Sorry, Doug. I just went past that.
Yeah. And then the second time he was part of the York Foundation, which is probably Tommy Rich's biggest claim to fame in WCW. Which is sad. As part of the York Foundation, 6-man tag team champions there. So, he kind of had a little bit of a run. I mean, I think his biggest claim to fame was when he got to team with Ron Simmons in the Battle Bowl at Starrcade 91, or for the Lethal Lottery.
Yeah.
And they beat PM News and Steve Armstrong. So, like, that was probably his biggest match in WCW. So I'm not necessarily sold on it. I think he just kind of skated in just because I put it in a, yeah, you do. Probably too much power.
Fucking Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Yeah. So, but that's when you post it in the 70s, 80s, and 90s group. He's a 70s and 80s guy. I mean,
yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
The next one makes a lot more sense. At number 45 with 9 votes, we have the Giant.
I can't do the laugh. I can't do his Dungeon of Doom laugh. It's very maniacal.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was doing what the Giant used to do.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand and clap.
No.
I was about to say, all right, go ahead.
I thought Giant would be higher on the list. Just saying.
All right, so this was another faux pas. He would have been if I would have remembered to put him in both polls.
Who?
The Giant.
Oh.
He's on the fucking list.
He's on the, well, Eric just said he thought he would have been higher.
Oh.
He would have been higher.
I thought he would have been top 25.
I forgot him in the first one.
Oh, you asshole.
Yeah, I know that. Faux pas.
He's in the NWO for a spell.
I know. I just
Hey, it's okay.
When is it? This is not the first time I've goofed up on this show.
We've all goofed up. Maybe not Daniel so much, but
No, I'd be
but
fine.
me and Doug have.
Daniel's the glue that holds this thing together.
Yes, he is.
We're like sticky cum. All right. Let's get into the Giant. I thought this is when he was doing fucking like drop kicks off the top rope and shit. So I thought he would. I'm of the contingency that thinks that he's like better in WCW than he ever was in WWE because Vince never knew how to book him. He was always fucking, the more turns than NASCAR thing, the whole like, oh, I'm babyface, oh, I'm heel. And whenever like Big Show's in a main event thing, you're like, ah.
I do think he's more known as a WWE guy.
100%.
So if we did a WWE top 50, he would be higher in that list.
I don't think he would. Maybe if WWE made the list.
Yeah.
But I don't think if it was like a fan vote, I don't think he would.
He might if we did like a ruthless aggression or an attitude era. Well, not attitude era. Ruthless aggression, maybe.
I don't care if he did win the belt at Survivor Series.
And it's interesting that maybe one time we'll do a top 50 WWE just to
the
see.
Only ECW, WCW, and WWE champion ever exist.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that, Eric, is that like if we were going to do like the WWE list, we'd have to do because if we did WWE all together, it would have to be like 100, 150, whatever.
Yeah.
We would have if we were going to do top 50, we'd have to split it up into different eras because you can.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Each era is about like 5-6 years.
We could just do a top 50 though, and the best of the best make the cut, but we'll see.
That could, I mean, yeah, that could do it. I'm just trying to give us more show ideas.
Well, I like doing it for the eras too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we could do it for the eras, and then we can also do it for like just the company as itself.
Yeah.
So we can do it. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And we'll see who truly is the best.
Yes. Which is what we're doing right now with WCW.
Be a long fucking ballot.
Listen,
I'm gonna hate that.
Yeah, you will. But you're gonna love it at the same time. You love this shit.
500 fucking names.
The Giant was a part of some pretty spectacular stuff. Even being green, it's like he still kind of got it. And he was doing cool shit, and he was a part of good stuff. Like his stuff with Lex, I really liked. I liked when he joined the NWO. I liked him fighting the NWO. He was good around this time.
He joined the NWO twice, didn't he?
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, I think his best matches that he had were actually with Sting. Like the 96 match at Slamboree was really good. The match in 98 at Great American Bash after they had all these like really good matches. And then you have this 9-minute match that kind of sucked.
Really?
But Giant was also very out of shape at the time.
Oh, okay.
But like he had really good matches with Sting. When he won the title from Hogan in that Halloween Havoc 95 debacle, he walked through. Hogan told him, he said, "Hey, walk through the airport. Make sure you have the title."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay." And he goes, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah." So he's walking through the airport. He's saying hi to all the guys. He's got the day, woohoo, I'm the champion and all that. And Sting pulls him aside. He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Hogan told me to."
What the fuck?
What the hell? Hogan told me to go ahead and walk through the airport with the title. He goes, "You look like an idiot." And Giant looked at him and said, "I'm getting ribbed, aren't I?" He goes, "You think?" So there was a whole rib because you're not supposed to walk through the airport with your world title on your shoulder because you don't want to really grab that much attention to yourself.
No. But yeah, as the Big Show, and people like remember the theme, the Big Show. But like, I do think his stuff as the Giant was better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. All right, next up. That last comment was weird.
Remember who it came from.
Number 44, we have Jimmy Jam Garvin at number 10.
With 10 votes.
Oh, with 10 votes at number 44, yeah. If he was at number 10, this would be a fucking travesty.
Oh my god.
I like Jimmy Jam.
I'll tell you who we can blame for that, or blame for him being where he is on the list, and it's Jimmy.
Oh,
Our
Jimmy Jam.
Yeah. Well, not him. A buddy of ours at work who he does know that I'm going to call him out on a few of these. I asked him, I said, submit a list because I'm going to use it for tiebreakers. Jimmy Jam was one of the names he put on. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Eric thinks it's fucking stupid. Eric's like,
Well,
Jimmy
Eric,
Jam's
don't
a
worry,
terrible.
Not a fan of yours either.
Oh, everyone's a fan of Eric's. No, I think Jimmy Jam Garvin. Well, I like the whole new Freebirds thing, even though it kind of blew.
It wasn't great, but they did have, because Jimmy was the one that could work in the tag team. So
yeah,
when you bring him in and have him do all these good matches with, like a Johnny B. Bad, or when you had him and Hayes work the Steiners, or when they worked Anderson and Zabisco. Like Jimmy could carry the workload.
but when they came out, who the hell are you?
Yeah,
I'm a free bird.
what's your excuse? Which, by the way, that when they debuted that song, so the story goes is that they were going to debut this new song. They were, new attitude, new song. It was kind of a repackaging, and they were going to sing it to the live crowd. Well, when they were doing that, the segment before, they turned the audio down because Cactus Jack and Van Hammer were having a Falls Count Anywhere match, and they didn't want the audio to get too loud from the outside. So they turned it down.
Yes.
Well, when they went to commercial break, they forgot to turn it back up. So when Hayes and Garvin were singing, you couldn't hear the music in the arena. So Hayes was just kind of like remembering, like he was looking at the video screen and he was reading lips off the video screen. Well, Jimmy Jam Garvin was watching Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't remember the freaking words.
Yeah.
So he's trying to read Hayes' lips.
Yeah, that was a shit show.
Yeah.
As far as a wrestler though, Jimmy James, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's the tits.
He's definitely pretty good. He's definitely, again, the best worker of the tag team.
Oh yeah, he's in a tag team with Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
All right, number 43. He was extremely athletic for his size. He's not wrong.
Oh, exactly.
He's not wrong. He was. All right. Number 43, we have one of the toughest SOBs on planet Earth. We're not talking about me and Doug. We're talking about Ming. How cool if you're a WWE fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, universally known as the one guy not to fuck with. Like, as far as, like, reputations go, he's got, like, the highest one ever. Like, people put him over Brock Lesnar as, like, a guy you don't want to fuck with in a bar. Ming will rip your throat out. Like, people are fucking legitimately scared of him.
Which he has tried to do to people before. He has tried to rip their throats out.
I mean, the reputation seems to precede itself and seems to be well-deserved. Yeah. But a badass, and he always brought that legitimate big fight feel.
Yeah.
Always.
So definitely.
Love
me.
And I did too. And he was one of those guys, like, when they tried to get him to do like comedy, like with Norman Smiley, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But it was because he was just best known as the Killer. He was a member of the Dungeon of Doom, and member of the Faces of Fear tag team. They had really good tag team matches with against Harlem Heat, against Public Enemy, against the Steiners. Mortison Wrath, which was actually a really good pay-per-view match, believe it or not.
Yeah.
He was a big single star too. I mean, the matches he had with Benoit, the matches he had against Barbarian, it was a good big man match.
Yep.
And he was lethal. And I mean, they called him the monster for a reason.
He's the guy that you don't want to piss off.
Oh God, no. Like, if we ever had him on the show, I would be afraid to interview him.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
I mean, well, that's what people say. They say he's a sweetheart of a man, but it's just like, are you sure?
I mean, he's probably playing the character.
Yeah.
Obviously. Some people are like that.
When you piss him off in a bar and he rips your nose off with his teeth, I don't know how far the character goes.
Yeah. Ming's a real one. All right, next up. I think we're on 42.
Yeah, 42.
42, this is another tiebreaker. Honestly, a little surprised this guy made the list.
Over Ming, by the way. He broke the tie with Ming.
Yeah, at 11 votes. I am a fan of him and his whole family. But we have Brad Armstrong. Whether you're an Arachnaman guy, a buzzkill type of dude, we got Brad Armstrong, the man of many failed gimmicks.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm very happy he's on this list. I've always been a fan of his. He's one of those guys who's very underrated worker.
Yeah.
And by the way, we can actually thank, and I'll shout him out. I don't think he's in the chat room, but I'll shout him out anyway. Barry Horowitz broke this tie.
Our boy Barry.
Yes, we need to get him back on the show.
When you come up with $150, you let me know.
Never
Yeah, you can't say the man's price live on air.
Sorry. So if he is watching, then we're definitely screwed.
That's 2 now.
Yeah.
It's $250.
Yeah, he's actually worth it because he actually gives really good interviews. So
I had a great time.
Well, yeah, because you had to take over the interview because I was pissing him off.
And then Eric put him on didn't Eric put him on a list to suck him off later on?
He put him on like 3 lists.
There you are, the greatest WWE champion of all time.
No, it was a jobber, I think.
No, it was,
you did not put him on
the
a
guys that should have won the WWE title. You put him on the list.
Which, I mean, he's great.
Yeah.
But
no, so yes, he's the one that broke the tie. He's the one that got Brad Armstrong on this countdown. Well, I mean, Brad was going to be on the countdown anyway, but he's the one that got Brad on this countdown above Ming. So Ming, if you're listening to this, you got to go to Tampa and straighten this thing out. If you're not happy,
we're never going to get Barry back. You're sending a hit on him. Yeah,
just joking, not being serious.
Ming's watching this. All right, Doug.
Are we going to send this episode to
it might have been Barry.
That's going to be a short. And if it's a short, we send it to Barry.
Okay.
What, did I just put a hit out on him?
No.
All right. Brad Armstrong was always gifted in the ring, and I thought between the ropes, he was a very talented man.
Former light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, Kenny Lehman, a good friend of ours, said at one time that the Armstrong family is a very interesting one where you had Bullet Bob and he was kind of the total package, and he could talk and he could wrestle and he was great. And then he had his sons, and Road Dogg turns out to be one of the best talkers of all time, but, not extremely gifted in the ring. And then you got Brad, who really could never get a gimmick off or really get his personality going, but always was putting on great matches.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and the other two brothers, Scott and Steve, like they tried, but I mean, they were always good, really good enhancement talents.
Yeah, but
is that family up there with the what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
There's a lot of families, Eric.
I forgot. They went in Texas.
I wouldn't put them with that.
They're not up there with the Von Erichs.
Okay.
Even though, like, Bullet Bob and Road Dogg are two, like, pretty successful.
Yeah.
And Brad Armstrong had a fucking long-ass career. So, like, those three, they're a good like, I'm trying to think of a family that they're better than. Oh, the Bloodline. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think of a family that they're more prestigious than. But I don't know. I don't know.
Doug would know.
Like not the Hearts, not the no, not the Ortons. Well, maybe the Ortons because you just got Cowboy and Randy. Barry O was kind of always a job guy.
I would put the Armstrongs as like they were a workhorse wrestling family.
Yeah,
that's probably the best way to put it.
It's a good
The
definition.
Briscoes?
No.
Nah.
All right. All right. Next up, we have number 41. By the way, and this is the first one that I'll really say this. We're not a moment of silence or nothing, but there's a couple of guys on this list that have passed away recently. There's a bunch of deceased men on this list, but there's two in particular that passed away recently. One's fairly recently. This one at number 41, I do want to give a great big RIP and thank you for all the memories to Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster.
Passed away. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Former tag team champion here in WCW, former 6-man tag team champion as well.
Yep.
I think. I don't remember. Actually, no, he didn't. He went for the 6-man tag titles, but he never actually won it. But yeah, former tag team champion, former U.S. tag team champion, manager extraordinaire, booker extraordinaire. He is responsible for a lot of the key moments in WCW, booking them during like the Monday Night Wars.
He kind of made Goldberg.
Yeah. Made Goldberg.
The rivalry with Chris Benoit.
The feud with Chris Benoit.
In and outside the ring.
We have to give him credit for the Dungeon of Doom because I personally like the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
So,
that's an underrated stable.
Yeah. Even though people think
come on, that shit sucked so fucking bad. Listen, I'm a Tenta fan. I'm an Earthquake guy, but the Shark, and like, I do like that he committed and did the tattoo over it with a shark, but no, the Dungeon of Doom was fucking butt cheeks, and I feel bad for Kevin Sullivan because I feel like he gets put in that place to where he was the little guy that was against Hogan that had the big group, but he was much more than that. To me, if I did a top 10 geniuses in wrestling video ever, he would be on the list.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the smartest guys to ever lace up a pair of boots and ever like talk about and book. And because he was never a Vince guy, I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but fucking genius.
100%.
Dungeon of Doom shit's not my favorite, but the other stuff, the Varsity Club is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. Bless you. Yeah, the Varsity Club was always really good. Him, Steve Williams, and Mike Rotunda. But I'll go back. One of my favorite runs that he was on was when him and Cactus were tag team partners for that little bit. And they beat the Nasty Boys in the Philadelphia street fight.
Yes.
So I've always enjoyed that. And then when he started feuding with Hogan, obviously, like you said, the feud with Benoit.
Yes.
So, yeah, R.I.P. to the Taskmaster.
R.I.P.
Legend.
One of the greatest. I'm going to do number 40, then I'm going to go P.
Okay.
P. Number 40, we have another one of my favorites with 12 votes, the Natural, Dustin Rhodes.
They call him the Natural. Actually, I don't even know if I could sing. I don't actually know if I could sing the song or not because I don't know if we'll get busted for copyright or not.
I don't think
he's still one of the active wrestlers on this list, right?
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, I think he's the only active wrestler. Well, I mean, can you...
Wait, Ray's on this.
Oh, yeah, no. Ray's still on. Ray and Jericho. I think him, Ray, Jericho, and Big Show, I think, to a point.
And Flair to a point.
Flair's not active. If Flair's not active in the ring, Flair is active in restaurants complaining.
That's true.
But no, the Natural, and the thing with Dustin Rhodes is he comes in as Dusty Rhodes' son, and Dusty kind of gives him this, mid push, because you really don't want to get pushed too hard since you're the Booker's son.
Yep.
But he came in, a lot of momentum. His tag team with Barry. All right, so here's Dustin's credentials: former 2-time tag champion.
Yes.
Former United States champion on a couple of occasions. Memorable matches with Steve Austin, memorable feuds with Ravishing Rick Rude, Barry Windham as well.
Yes. Yes.
Arn Anderson. I'm gonna throw Bunkhouse Buck and Jerry fucking
Jerry Fuck.
Yeah. Jerry Funk.
There you go.
Man, I might be getting tired.
I don't know what just happened.
Neither do I.
Jerry Fuck.
Rest in peace.
So
Terry Funk?
yeah. He passed
Okay.
a year ago.
My bad. R.I.P.
Yeah. Well, technically we could have saved that because he is coming up, I think.
My bad.
I can't believe he passed. I missed that one.
Like the day before Bray Wyatt.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying, oh my God, as in you forgot Bray Wyatt passed?
No, I do. Dude.
Me and Doug did a show on that, on Terry Funk. Or was
Yeah,
it?
we did.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Go
ahead.
I don't remember if Daniel was on.
Whoever just gave us the like on Facebook, God bless you.
Who did?
I don't know. Somebody did. There's a thumbs up in the corner.
Oh.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
That a boy. But no, Dustin Rhodes, for being the plumber's, the plumber's grandson and all that, and being Dusty's son, he, had a lot to live up to, and I think he did. Obviously, his greatest work would come in WWE, but
his greatest matches were in WCW.
oh, he had some really good ones. I mean, but he also had the King of the Road match too.
Oh yeah, we did get that's awesome.
I like the Kiss My Ass match with.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the last WCWs.
Yeah,
isn't that the last Nitro?
No, that's the last pay-per-view. That's Greed.
Oh, okay. But
I do have a question for you, Daniel.
Go ahead.
How do you think Cody Rhodes would have been booked in WCW?
I don't know.
Like shit.
I don't know. Well, Dusty wouldn't be the booker, right?
No, it would have been. Unfortunately, it would have been Russo and Ferrara.
Oh Jesus!
I mean, let's say Cody was born first before Dustin.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he does well.
Yeah,
I think Cody's got the talent. But to say if he was born 30 years ago, I mean, I think he would be fine. He wrestles old school, so
yeah. I think he would have been a champ. I think they would have given him a championship.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Probably.
That's a fun thing to do in 2K is to like do a little download a bunch of old guys and have Cody wrestle them.
Yeah.
All right. That was the Netro. At number 39 with 12 votes as well, we have the living legend, Larry Zbyszko.
Okay, so this is another like one of those because this was the tiebreaker, obviously, and Larry ended up over Dustin and Taskmaster. Larry's more known for the early 80s run against Bruno in the WWF, and obviously known for his AWA stuff as the AWA champion, mainly because he was Vern Gagne's son-in-law.
Yeah.
In WCW, he's more known as a commentator.
I think that's why I voted for him.
He's been in a couple matches too, though.
Well, he's a former tag team champion. He's a former television champion.
And he did the shit with Bischoff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's had really good matches with Steven Regal for that TV title. So
he had a feud with Scott Hall, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So I think that's why he's like on the list. But again, it's another one of those Tommy Rich type deals where it's just like, kind of remember the name from the 70s and 80s. And when you have the choice of putting either Larry Zbyszko or Van Hammer on the list, you're gonna go with the former over the latter.
Yeah. I have to admit, I like Larry Zbyszko, but I'm surprised he's this high.
My favorite War Games he's in. So
yeah, the one in 91, which was the Horsemen and Larry Zbyszko because Arn Anderson got hurt against Sting, the Steiners, and Flying Brian. Still, that's probably 92. I think would rank at number 1 for me, but this would be number 2.
Yeah.
there we go. All right, the living legend.
Yeah.
All right, number 38. This is another tiebreaker. We have the other Freebird, Michael P.S. Hayes.
I'm actually surprised he made it higher than Jimmy Jam. But again, this
Yeah.
is another thing we can blame our buddy at work for because he was.
I thought he's more known with WWF.
I mean, he had the run in WCW, tag champion, U.S. tag champion, 6-man tag champion. So it's not like he didn't achieve anything.
Yeah.
I think he deserves to be here.
Yeah.
A bit. I don't know.
Not this high.
Not this high, no.
No. Especially looking down the list, we have way better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we got some stinkers though, too, though.
Well, that's why we've gone through the first 12.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I thought he's had some good matches in WCW, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, as long as Jimmy was his partner.
Right. All right. Next up, we have at number 37 with 13 votes. And this is another one that was actually very recently. And I do want to say RIP and give a brief moment of silence for. And that is Mr. Sid Vicious. But Sid was the ruler of the world, the king of the world. He was, I think, criminally underrated for the longest time, and just thought of as another big dude that but he had this intensity about him that was perfect. And he got Shawn. You're a Shawn Michaels fan. You remember Royal Rumble '97?
Oh yeah,
it's '97, right? Yeah, it's a Royal Rumble.
I remember his feud with Diesel at the time. That's as we said earlier. That's around the time I became a fan.
Yeah, Sid was the man, even in ECW. But WCW, wherever Sid went, he was fucking awesome. And it was always cool to see him. In the 90s, Sid was the guy. So WCW, I think, was his best place of the three. Yeah. So
yeah,
I think this is 100% deserved. I'm glad we get to give him his flowers. RIP. The whole Udi family, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Because Sid was the fucking man. I feel like he got clowned on way too much, and he does not get the respect he deserves. And Triple H, love you to death. What you're doing to the company, I love you. You're great. You're doing a great job. Put him in the fucking Hall of Fame. It's been way too long. Makes no sense that he's not in there. I get Vince didn't like him, but it's bullshit. The man was begging to be in.
He died.
Yeah, he never got his moment. He never got to give his speech. He never got to really enjoy it. But it's long overdue. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
it's bullshit that he's not.
Yeah, he'll get there. I really do think he'll get in there next year.
Dude, but no offense to Tori Wilson, but come on, bro.
Well, exactly. You got to remember, been in the Hall of Fame 5 years ago.
I love Tori Wilson, but come on, bro. It's Sid.
This past year was Triple H's first year putting together the entire class.
Yeah, I'm not putting it on it. I'm not saying anything negative about Triple H.
So I do agree, because Sid only started calling for this thing for him to go in a month ago.
But he was like, dude, I'm running out of time.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, first of all, nobody knew he was sick.
Apparently he did.
Well, yeah, he knew. He knew. His wife knew. The boys knew. Grandkids might not have known.
But regardless, it doesn't matter. We have to get him in as soon as possible because it sucks he never got his moment.
Yeah.
Because Sid was the ruler of the world. He's a former WWE champion and WCW champion.
Yeah. Former WCW champion, former United States champion, WCW champion on a couple of occasions, by the way.
Yes.
So he definitely deserves to be on this list. One of my favorite matches he had, even though the match might not be considered that great, He wrestled on a Nitro at the end of February against Tank Abbott. It was for the WCW title, and he had gotten beaten up earlier in the night by Jeff Jarrett. And it's like, oh my God, Tank Abbott's going to beat him. Tank Abbott's going to beat him. And Tank was undefeated. And Sid did not have the strength in him to choke slam or power bomb Tank Abbott. So he beat Tank Abbott with a crossface.
Yes.
So
I think his most infamous, but he like I remember him when Goldberg smashed the car, and he's like, Goldberg.
oh yeah,
he is in it's him, Ultimate Warrior, and Scott Steiner. Those three and their fucking outrageous promos are like the best. Like those three are in a category of their own. Of like wild, you don't know what the fuck they're saying. They don't even know what the fuck they're saying. But it's fucking outrageous, and it's actually kind of cool, and it makes you want to watch the match. So I think, and like a lot of people like remember Kevin Nash fucking pulling one over on him, and making him say that he wasn't very bright on T and stuff like that. But he has had some really good moments.
But that Nitro that you just brought up with them doing the parody where Nash dressed up as Sid or whatever. That was Sid's full transition into a babyface.
Yeah.
So he does the promo, wants to match with Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash has to come out of retirement in order to do it.
Yep.
Then he power bombs Rick Steiner through the stage. Then he costs Scott Hall his world heavyweight title tournament match against Chris Benoit.
Yes.
Wow.
Then he wrestles Sid in a main event that was actually really good. And Tony Schiavone's just like, Sid Vicious has had a hell of a night. He started off, Nash and Hall were trying to, embarrass Sid, make him look like an idiot. But Sid has persevered, and it's just like they were building him into the biggest because they knew they're like, all right, we want to start, building up more baby faces. And for some reason, they picked Sid, and it worked.
Yeah.
Because Sid had a lot of people a lot of fans that supported him.
Yeah. Sid's the man.
Yeah.
He gets too much bullshit, too much hate. Doesn't deserve it. Number 36, maybe one of the best wrestlers on this list or ever, Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to let you take this one for a minute. I'll be right back.
All right. Dean Malenko, I think he's just, and I'll let you go in on this too, Eric. I think he's one of the best pure wrestlers, of all time.
Oh, definitely.
And he's known, like, remember, 1997, that's when the PWI put him at number 1 in the 500. And that's when people were like, what the fuck? Why is Dean Malenko? But he was the best wrestler.
Yep.
Maybe not the world champion or anything, but he was the best wrestler. And like I wrote, like there's certain moments like when he was dressed as that Sikope or whatever, and he in that battle royal to fight Jericho, and then he takes the mask off and the crowd's popping so hard he starts beating the shit out of Chris Jericho, and moments like that. His great matches with Eddie and Benoit and everybody.
Jericho.
Jericho and his feud are my favorites.
I was going to say that's probably his best feud.
Yes, because that's when the Jericho was doing the man of 1,001 holds to be better than the man of 1,000 holds.
And I think he's in AEW, isn't he? A booker or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's good friends with Jericho, I believe. And I think Bryan Danielson is a big fan of him because I know a lot of people compare Bryan Danielson to Chris Benoit, but I think
Sami
he's more.
Zayn is too. He's brought him up a few times.
I think he's more compared to. I think you can compare him more towards Dean Malenko.
Is Dean still in AEW?
As far as I know, he's an agent. Yeah, I mean, he's unfortunately dealing with Parkinson's disease, but I think he's still traveling.
Okay.
Yeah, so I compare Bryan Danielson more towards Dean Malenko than Benoit.
Trying to get Dougie's big head in that. All right.
Yeah, I'm a big Dean Malenko fan. So
4-time cruiserweight champion, 1-time United States champion. Definitely,
television champion.
definitely a worthy of being on this list. Are we just tagging in and out?
Yep.
Is he in the WWE Hall of Fame?
I don't think he's in the. No, he's not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
But he's in the Pro PWI, whatever the other Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I mean, well, in like Daniel was saying, in the 1997 PWI 500, that's when they decided, all right, they're going to rank these guys not by the popularity, but by how good of wrestlers they are, and he was number one.
Very underrated, and it's a shame that he was never a world champion.
Yeah, but it was like people say that, and I get the whole vanilla midgets and the whole day, but like, and you saw what Eddie and Benoit went on to do in the E.
Yep.
But also, when they went on to do it, was business the hottest it ever was? No. And like nothing, those two were fucking awesome. There's nothing negative to say, just like Dean. But can you truly tell me, even if Eric Bischoff find a way, Hollywood Hogan and Dean Malenko in the main event, would that really have popped the numbers?
No.
And I'm not trying to use this platform to shit. Like I said, this is a positive list. We're celebrating the guys. But maybe Dean was just really great in his role. Maybe him just being the fucking lightning rod of the cruiserweights were like, I don't need to see him wrestle Kevin Nash. Like, maybe I don't even want that. But like,
that's a good point.
And I don't, because like, yeah, these guys were more talented than the guys at the top. So like, I get why they would want to be in the main event, get paid like the best. Like, I get it. I get why they would, like, I should be in the main event. I worked this hard. But like, sometimes on a television show, people just play their certain roles, and you're the main character in your own thing on a wrestling show sometimes. So you don't always have to be in the, like, I get it. And I don't want to, because like, Benoit obviously went on to do great things in the main event. Eddie went on to be a great main eventer. Like, I love seeing and it's nothing about smaller guys. Like, I just fucking was cheering for Daniel Bryan last week. I love like AJ Styles is one of my favorites. So like, it's nothing about that, but it's like when you look at how everybody matched up, did Dean Malenko and Goldberg, like, can you sell me on that story?
No,
I don't know.
Not in the 90s, and you can't sell it today either. But
so Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Dragon, Jeff Jarrett, Chris Benoit. I'm naming off a lot of Malenko's like high profile feuds, and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah,
in the company, and all those guys their role was open up most of the time, open up the pay-per-view,
which is a great role, especially in WCW.
Huh?
Especially in WCW, opening
role. That's what he said.
Yeah, was great.
That was the role in WCW, which is the point. Which is the point I'm trying to make here. Is that was a role in WCW, which was opening match, get the crowd hot, because more than likely they're going to get some shit later on, but we want them in a good mood for what we're going to probably end up giving them.
Exactly.
So, and Malenko fit that role perfectly because he was one of the better pro wrestlers.
Yes.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Number 36. All right, number 35 with 14 votes, we have Flying Brian Pillman.
All right. Now, you and I were having a conversation earlier, and you were telling me that you did not really agree with him actually being on the list. Now, the only thing I have to say about that is this is where he had like the majority of his run as a wrestler, because he was in this company for 7 years.
Yes, he was, but he was a bland white baby face. White meat baby face. He was a bland. I liked him, but like Loose Cannon Brian Pillman is obviously the best Brian Pillman. I know he didn't I know that the matches in WWE do not compare. Like I know. I get it. Ring work, I get it, but sometimes character work does take precedence, and Loose Cannon Brian Pillman is some of the most cutting-edge best television I've ever seen.
What about him as one of the blondes?
That's nowhere near the same. The Hollywood Blondes?
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Because you're saying like you're, not necessarily shitting on his WCW run, but like,
No, I'm not.
or like, as a Hollywood blonde, no, it might not have been as great as the loose cannon deal, but
Well, that's a young him and Steve Austin were like really yes, that was good stuff, but it didn't last as long as it should have either. And I did like it, but also like loose cannon, he's at his he's already hit the peaks, and he's like so like the unraveling of him on camera. Whether like I did not ever want it to happen personally to him, and like R.I.P. to Brian Pillman, gone way too soon. But like the character work he was going through on screen at the time in the WWE when he was doing that,
yeah,
it was next level shit. I do like Hollywood Blondes, and though they were great heels, him and Stunning Steve Austin,
Yep.
they were great. But is that Steve Austin's best stuff?
No,
no,
It's good.
absolutely not.
It's good stuff, and I'm not trying to shit. It's good stuff, but is it his best stuff? I
No.
don't. Maybe it was Pillman's best stuff, but I don't know. I guess I just disagree.
right.
But he had great matches. I mean, his stuff. Didn't he have stuff with Steamboat?
He worked the pay-per-view with Steamboat, and then him and Austin did the tag matches with Steamboat and Douglas.
Yeah, they should have never broke those two up. But the Hollywood Blondes were a good tag team.
Yeah, I mean Pillman stuff with Liger. Pillman had really good matches with when he had the match with Ricky Morton for the light heavyweight title. Right, that was really good. Pillman is a horseman.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we can't really discount that.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know necessarily if I would put him. To me, he would be between like 35 and 40. What number is this?
35, I think.
Yeah, it is 35.
So he's probably right where I think he should be on
The list.
the list.
All right. Next up, number 34. And I think a lot of people remember the purple tights from Halloween Havoc, but he had so much more of a run there than just that. Rey Mysterio Jr.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of people are first of all, I think he is. I don't think anybody's going to be upset that he is at this point on the list. I do think that. Well, first of all, I'm glad he made the list to begin with.
Yeah, I think he's at the perfect spot.
Yeah, I think Eric's trying to say that he's disappointed that Eric, you're just a co-host of the show. Your opinion doesn't matter, just like ours doesn't matter because we're not the ones that came up with the list. The fans did.
Yeah, I know. I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah. Well, no,
it does matter to me, Eric.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Always guessing it. But it's just like he's at that point because again, like Dean Malenko, he played a pivotal role in the success of the company in that Monday Night War era to where like, all right, the crowd is down. He does some really good moves. He doesn't really botch any of them like Juventud Guerrera did.
Yes.
So we're going to put him out there. He's going to wow people for about 5-6 minutes.
Exactly.
And
I just thought he was going to be in the top 25. That's just
I think this is a good spot for him. Because I'm not trying to keep it. Like I said, WCW is my favorite company, but now I'm becoming they were better in WWE guy. Rey Mysterio was way better in WWE. Once he he was the ultimate underdog. Once
he was more polished. More polished.
His shit was fun, and it was fun to watch. I kind of like it AJ Styles to him. Because AJ's TNA stuff is way more fun to watch. It's like, oh my God, it's this dude doing a bunch of crazy shit. He's flying all over the fucking, oh my God, I've never seen shit like this before. But then you watch his WWE stuff, you're like, wow, he's a polished pro now. And he's like ready to be a world champion. And he's like legitimate. And he like, it's the facials, it's the underdog, it's being a heel. It's like, even though Rey Mysterio's never been, he was a heel once in WCW and it blew. But the WCW run is fantastic for... You have your moments like Halloween Havoc with Eddie. Obviously, that's like everybody's favorite match. You have a lot of great cruiserweight stuff. But you got to also, like, once the mask goes away and you do the filthy animals, not great.
No,
Like
No.
it wasn't as, and so from like 99 to 2000 until he came back to WWE, he really wasn't the same. And once he finally got back there, then it's like okay. Then in WWE and the cruiserweight, and then he rose the ranks in WWE, and it's like, oh, okay, Rey Mysterio's the shit,
Oh yeah.
and he really became like, I mean, he's a legend, and he's a top 50 of all time.
Oh, yeah.
He's in my personal top 30 of all time. I think he would be 30 for me,
Right.
but that's where he would rank for WC. I don't blame that. I don't blame that. All right.
I'm surprised he's not higher than Jericho, unless Jericho's not on the list.
Oh, he's there.
Well, Jericho, you got to think Jericho did a lot of character stuff and was very entertaining. Because this is when Jericho. Well, I'll save it till I get to him, I guess.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know that, you know.
Number 33, we have another man who's a legend, and I'll say he was great everywhere he went. Cactus Jack.
And he's one where it's just like, because you notice a lot, and you're going to notice this as we get higher up on the countdown. You're going to see a lot more guys from the 93 to 95 era of WCW as we get higher.
Okay.
And the guys that were from like earlier on than you are going to see from the guys from later on in the company.
Which is funny because I think a lot of people because WCW can be seen in different, because it has its own eras too, because it was around for a little bit. Because it could be known for its 92 to 90, 92, 93, 94, like its period of
Pre-Hogan.
Rick
Pre-Hogan.
Rude, the pre-Hogan era. And the
Yep.
Rick Rude and, Ric Flair coming back and the Vaders and the Sting, and Surfer Sting and that shit. And then you have the then you have the Hogan era, the first year or two, and the Dungeon of Doom and the corny WWF, but way, 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 way worse. Like if you took WWF in '89 and you gave it a curse, that's what it was. But then you have the NWO era, and then you have the Vince Russo butt cheeks era.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see a lot of that 90, because that was, even though it wasn't drawing great and the company almost went under, some of the best wrestling and some great matches. They had top tier all-star rosters. We've talked about this on this show in the past. They had really good shit. So I can imagine us seeing a lot of that. And Cactus, barring Ric Flair, every other top guy in the company, he had an amazing feud with.
Yeah.
Him and Sting were perfect. Him and Vader were great. Him and I guess, I don't know if Abdullah's a top guy, but I love the shit with him and Abby. Tagging and opponents.
Super Brawl 3, him and Orndorff in that Falls Count Anywhere.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Again, I brought it up earlier. Him and Sullivan versus the Nasties at Slamboree 94. Fantastic. I mean, obviously, he would go on to bigger and better things in another company, but his WCW run, like, this is...
Is it better than ECW?
I would say it's more well-known, yeah.
Because he gets put it, like he was on the ECW DVD. He gets put like as an ECW legend because he's the hardcore legend, so they kind of put him with ECW too, and that's not really the case.
You're right.
He was more WCW than he was ECW.
Oh yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right, buddy. And so they gave him in the talent exchange, and he ended up doing some good shit. But his WCW run was by far, the stuff with Vader's the best stuff I've ever seen.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's got to take a pee on this show.
Well, dude, I'm doing energy drinks here.
Yeah.
We drink a lot of water. We're hydrated.
I got a lot of water. I've been down.
Yeah, you got fluids in you.
Yeah.
Eric drinks. That comes with pissing. No, but I think that's a great pick.
So this is 32?
Yeah. Like I said, him and Vader's one of my favorite feuds ever.
Oh, yeah.
All right. At number 31, we have...
No, 32.
32?
Yeah.
At number 32 with 15 votes, we have the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, baby Bret Hart.
And I'm surprised he actually made a WCW list.
Controversial pick. Very controversial.
I'm surprised he made a WCW. I mean, he's going to be surprised too.
Well, because he hates it.
Well, yeah.
Like when you hate the run yourself.
Yeah, he's going to be surprised, and more than likely we're going to end up getting a lawsuit.
What happened?
We're talking about Bret Hart. We're on number 32.
Oh wow!
And we're kind
What
of
the-
surprised he made this particular list because he is very much fuck WCW. Like he hated that run. Like he's on the like how Scott Steiner has hated all his WWE runs.
Yeah.
Bret Hart fucking hated
Yep.
his WCW run, and he blames them for like everything.
I'm
Like
surprised he's high on this list, especially higher than Rey Mysterio.
me too.
Yeah, 32. It's just like, all right, it's not necessarily like the greatest placement, but one, being on the list at all, and two, being in the top 35.
Now, first of all, I do want to say this though, because there is a little bit of merit to this. The stuff with Sting was pretty good. The finisher versus finisher stuff. The Scorpion Death Lock versus the Sharpshooter. I like that stuff. Outsmarting Goldberg with the metal plate under the hockey jersey is one of the most smartest fucking heel moves of all time, and I thought it was fantastic. That was cool, and the yelling at Gene Okerlund, the El Dandy thing. Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
Yeah.
And the refusing to call Goldberg anything other than Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg. His stuff with Mean Gene, his promos were actually kind of funny back then. And I do think he had some decent. The Chris Benoit Owen Hart tribute match is probably the highest thing we could say in the ring for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Really good matches with Booker T. Really good matches with Dallas Page too, if you think about it.
Yeah. So
I
if you
thought he
go
should
back,
be.
what was that, Eric? Say it again.
I think he should be in where the actual Dungeon spot.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But like if you look at all that, you can say he did have some good shit.
Yeah.
He, even though he hates it himself, and I get like it wasn't always the best storytelling when it came, they didn't really know what to do with it. Like I won't go against that big claim because the biggest claim on that run is they didn't really know what to do with him. And I'm not going to say that they did because they kind of didn't. But he did have good matches and he did have good stuff. And he even had like good matches with Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
So like he did have some stuff that like, and like I said, the Chris Benoit match that's in like if we did a top 20 matches ever.
Yeah.
That Owen Hart tribute match, that those two wrestled their asses off.
Yep.
So I think Bret does there is some merit for him to be here, even though me myself have always been a Bret Hart hater. I have gone to love him in recent years because of what an old bitter asshole he's become, and I love that. Because I don't know if he's real or not, or if he's just trolling, but I love it. And I love that because he already forgave Goldberg for everything, and now that he's like
Hey, Shawn Michaels.
Goldberg in like 2005.
yeah, like it was good for years, and now he's like fuck Goldberg. He's like once he saw Goldberg in Saudi Arabia getting all that money, he's like he can kiss my ass. Like he just bit like. He's fucking hilarious. I love Bret. Listening to Bret Hart tell stories. He is like very bitter and very salty.
Yeah,
but
we do have. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, an old friend of the show, Mr. Boxman, hates Bret Hart.
I know he does. But here's the thing: you can't. Bret Hart is literally one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots.
Oh, no question.
Bret Hart's matches. If I was put in a position of if you could only watch one guy's matches, it wouldn't be him, but he would be in consideration. He had some of the greatest ring work of all time. It's not boring. It's psychological. It builds up. There's something beautiful about his matches, and he can make anybody look very good. So Bret Hart is the fucking man. Him and Shaw, like that shit is real. Bret is fucking awesome in between the ropes. And as a promo, has points where he is really good. Has points where he's boring too, but as a Canadian hero / sympathizer, that shit was amazing. And like I said, he had some funny moments in WCW. But yeah, Bret is the man. I've gone to really grow respect for him. Number 31, we have Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Wonderful.
all I remember.
Call me Mr. Wonderful. If I singing, we'll probably get sued. So I'm gonna stop.
All right. So so this brings us, all I remember about this run is I remember watching some 92 stuff and the crowd calling him Paula and him getting really mad. And it wasn't that a big thing?
He hated that.
They were like, Paula, and he got so fucking pissed and he was always like, fuck you. But I thought Paul Orndorff brought a legitimacy to WCW, especially in the early years. It really needed it. He was an old veteran to have around. Like, having him and Rick Rude around really helped that company. And I thought he had
tremendously.
I thought he had some really good matches. Psychologically, he was great. He smacked Vader behind the scenes, but I think he didn't fuck around, and he was he's a wrestler's wrestler. This is a man that main evented WrestleMania 1. Like, he is a fucking beast. And a great heel. One of the best heels. Underrated heel.
And here's the thing too, is that when he came in, former television champion, former tag team champion, and he came in as like a main event level guy.
As he should.
Absolutely. And then you almost turned us off during it. Main event level guy, really good match with Cactus Jack at Super Brawl 3, then won the TV title. Then later on in 93 formed Pretty Wonderful with Paul Roma, and they had some success until Paul Roma decided to slap around Alex Wright in 95. And then when Orndorff had the career kind of transformation, when he came out as Mr. Wonderful in that song that I butchered at the beginning of the segment.
Yeah.
And
you did all right, Doug.
Oh,
there you go.
And then he had the mirror and all that, and looking in the mirror. And then he was starting to enjoy success. And then in the match with Johnny B. Bad drop kicked him in the back, and Orndorff broke the mirror. And he's like, oh my God, 7 years of bad luck. What's going to happen? And then he would come to the ring on Saturday night, and his music would always get broken up and all that. And he's like, oh my God, this is bad luck. And then Gary Spivey of the Psychic Television Network or whatever came in, gave him a new mirror, an even bigger mirror. And I remember Orndorff's last match on Nitro before he had the injury that wrote him off of television, when he beat Disco Inferno.
Yeah.
He comes out with this giant mirror, and Steve Mongo McMichael goes, oh my God, he's got an even bigger mirror to match his even bigger ego. And then they did the angle where they wrote him off because he was just his body was failing him. Although he ended up, training guys at the power plant. But he was just fantastic, a fantastic heel. The Wonderful and the song and all that, and him being obsessed with himself, really, he fit the character very well.
Yeah.
I'm happy with where he is on this list.
I agree. 100%.
I didn't watch him much, but I think this is probably the perfect spot.
All right, boys. Number 30 with 16 votes. One of my favorites, Lord Steven Regal.
Oh my God. The fact that he is at 30 and
it's outrageous.
He's the fact that he's at 30 and he's gone above some guys, people are going to be like, oh my God, you have him above Cactus Jack. Again, we didn't do the list. I came up with the ballot.
Yeah, you did make the ballot.
I made the ballot, but I didn't, and we cast our votes. But these were other votes that were casted, and people liked Regal. And as a blue blood, he was fantastic, especially that early stuff when he had Bill Dundee as his manager.
Yeah.
And Regal's facials, he would get in there and he would wrestle, and when he would get drop kicked or whatever, moves would get put on him, he'd have that facial
He did have good facials, and he had really good. He was probably one of the best technicians there.
Absolutely.
He was a
Yep.
great hand for the undercard.
Yeah. And again, he gave Larry Zbyszko a career resurgence for a little bit. And then you talk about career resurgence, Beautiful Bobby
Yeah.
and the Blue Bloods. And he had really good matches. And my favorite match of Regal's is when he wrestled Sting at the 1996 Great American Bash. They did 30 minutes, and Regal control, or not 30 minutes. It may have been like 20, but Regal controlled the majority of the match because Sting said, "Get your stuff in."
Yeah.
And they had a really good match. And also the stuff he did with Fit Finlay, the Belfast Bruiser, when Finlay tried to, place Regal's nose in the back of his throat.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at WCW and look at William Regal and just be like, oh, he got fired for the Goldberg thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's
He
so
did a
much
lot
more than that.
besides that.
Yeah, so much more than that.
Television champion 4 occasions. I mean, he made that world television title, in my opinion.
Yeah. He was a great in-ring technician for sure. His
Definitely.
shit with Finley. Oh my God.
Lordy.
All right. Are we taking this all the way to number 1, boys? That's up to you, Doug. It's your world. I'm living in it. At number 29.
I mean, we can try. I mean, we can. You want to put the cutoff at
25.
at 9 o'clock? Because you
9
want an
o'clock.
hour to get ready for your fantasy draft.
Well, yeah, but I'm not stopping the list at 4 or 3. If we're cutting it at 25, and we're going on next week. And we're doing 2 solid parts to it. I'm not fitting like we're not doing another episode if we, you know what I mean.
Stop at 25 because I'm
10 people.
kind of hungry.
It's up to the group. Let's keep going for now.
I mean, I was planning on doing it because we had advertised that we were going to do the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's your fault for not eating before the show.
I got home from work.
We could always. I mean, I could always
work at the cafe. They have food.
That's a great point. We could also always change the title, but we could keep on chugging and just see where we go. Number 29, we have with.
Don't give me that look. You know it's your own damn fault. You could have eaten at work.
With 16 views, with 16 votes, we have Kevin Nash.
He took himself off camera so he could flip me off.
He's like, I'm eating a grilled cheese. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Kevin, I think he's unjustly, shit talked about. I love this guy. I think he's hilarious. I like that he fucking shit talks everybody. And he's one of my favorite people to listen talk about the business. But and I think a lot of people are like, oh, he killed WCW. Like, what the fuck? No, he made WCW a lot of fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Scott with the NWO, and I'm surprised. Okay, all right, good. I wanted to make sure Scott was on because I'm surprised because a lot of people put Kevin before Scott, but I think I
think this was because we said wrestlers,
but I don't mind how this list is turning out at all.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash brought a certain pizzazz. I will stand by the fact that he should have beat Goldberg. That's not a bad move. If they would have just went right back into Black and White versus Wolfpack and then had Goldberg as a third, part of the rivalry and didn't do the finger poke of doom, the company would have been fine and still running today. I stand by it. Him winning at Starrcade meant he was an over baby face. People liked Wolfpack Kevin Nash. He was over. He could have beat Goldberg for the streak. It made sense. Nothing wrong with that. The finger poke and all that, won't defend it. But that, 100%, it can have, even stun gun, you can do it the same way and it's fine. But Kevin Nash had so many, like the Wolfpack's one of my favorite stables. Him and Hogan, Black and White versus the Red and Black. It just made itself. And it sucks we never got a real conclusion to it. But Kevin Nash had some really good shit. He had some cool rivalries. He made that tag team division with Scott Hall. Like, that's a star-studded tag team to have. Their stuff with the Steiners is awesome.
I mean, and even later on, his stuff with Savage, his stuff with Sid. I actually liked. I mean, I wasn't too fond of him breaking the Giant's neck, but the stuff he did do with the Giant was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Luger, Sting, Scott Steiner. I mean, yeah. I mean, he was very good when he felt like working. He was very good.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did get lazy at times.
Oh yeah.
But Prime Kevin's the shit. All right, number 28 was 16 votes. We have Chris Benoit.
Wow.
I'm glad he's on the list. One of the best wrestlers of all time, and his whole upbringing and the beginning of his fucking badass where he started here. The matches with Sullivan, like I said, the Bret Hart tribute, Owen tribute match, even all the way up to him winning the world title and him beating Sid. And that, to me, it's like, oh my God.
The best of 7 with Booker.
The best of 7 with Booker obviously made him. Did great shit with the United States Championship. Valued 4 Horsemen member in that era, kind of fighting against the NWO. I remember when they got Benoit almost quit when they were like in the War Games. I remember that I'm like, Benoit, don't quit. Like, I just remember rooting for him. Like, he was the shit as part of the 4 Horsemen. He was always in a good program, even though he wasn't on top. It's like Benoit's the guy. He'll tap anybody out. He's a tough SOB. One of the best wrestlers ever. We've already. If you're a fan of the show, we've already put the caveat that the art and the artists are different on this show.
Yeah.
Though, like, obviously not a huge Benoit personal fan, but as far as the wrestling career, one of the greatest careers of all time.
Yeah, in the ring, different from outside the ring.
You can be great at your job and a shitty person. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I look in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, we're here to talk about what he did in WCW, and what he did in WCW was some really good stuff. I brought up earlier his stuff with Ming. We were talking about Ming.
Yeah.
And they had some really good matches. So, U.S. champion, television champion, world champion, even though that didn't last long, tag champion.
He quit. It's not their fault that didn't fucking last long.
Yeah.
Walked away.
Yeah.
It's the only man I've ever known that won the world title. They're like, see ya. I get it though. Your wife's ex is running the company now. Her book.
Too, when you have Mike Graham coming up to you and be like, well, if you fucked my wife, I would fucking sodomize you with a curling iron. Okay, well, I don't want to be anywhere fucking near you.
Imagine being in catering and some guy just walks up to you and says,
I mean, I don't know if he was in catering or not, but he went up to Mike Graham and he's just like, so then they had to give him his release because he's like, it's an unsafe working environment. This guy, because they put, he complained to HR, and then Mike Graham even tried to get himself out of the complaint. He's like, I didn't really say that. Here's what I say. And gave like a PG version of what he said. But he told Sullivan what he had really said. And Sullivan went up to Mike Graham and was like, Mike, I've known you for years. Shut up. And then they gave those guys their release. And he's like, if you would have just kept your mouth shut, we would have been able to get him to work. But you fucked up, which is Mike Graham. That's what he's known for doing.
R.I.P. as well. I don't want to speak too much on the dead.
Yeah, I won't either. I'll just say he sucked at his job. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. But Benoit was just, if he would have stayed, who knows how much further he would have gone, but obviously he didn't feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
But
right.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
27.
We have another Chris from Winnipeg.
Chris
Hi,
Jericho. Hi, guys.
Chris Jericho, the learning tree himself. like I was saying about Chris Jericho earlier, this is like the start of all the brilliance.
Yeah.
You go from ECW and having good matches, but still being a bland white meat baby face to WCW, and you're kind of that, and you're the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, and didn't have a lot of fanfare. Like it's like, oh, he comes out, he has an
Uh,
okay match,
I
similar
wouldn't
to
say the learning tree is the great, but okay. No, I'm not gonna go there. But
No, the learning tree sucks.
I
no, I
disagree.
know.
The
Me and Daniel can talk
storyline
about
with
that tomorrow.
Hook had a great payoff.
Well, yeah, it had a great payoff, but they're telling, "Hey guys," like it's like you shouldn't be calling yourself. Well, I can't really say what you should be calling yourself. I'll say it tomorrow when we're.
I'm a
done.
big Jericho fan, and I even turn off the TV when I see him now.
You guys are a bunch of fucking haters. Chris Jericho.
I'm a big Jericho fan.
Well, no.
I like Jericho too. I'm just saying, is that like he's going, "Hey guys," and calling himself the learning tree. He should be calling himself the short bus.
It's so cringy.
There's nothing
I'm
wrong
sorry.
with short buses or with saying hi guys. I like the learning tree. He's a condescending piece of shit. He's talking like he's leading into the whole burying guys and being like a super Cena, but he put Hook over in the end. And it ended up being a 6-month storyline that had a great payoff with his father stepping in. And I think Jericho, I get it. It's the cool thing to hate him now, but I don't know. I think he's still doing good shit. People just want to. It's trendy for people to start shitting on stuff. I don't think it's bad. I really don't.
I'll get more into it tomorrow when we do our review.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to be arguing, but
which is fine.
Yeah, there's no problem with that. But I love Jericho, and this is the beginning stuff to where he goes from that white meat baby face, not really getting over, to really leading into being a heel and the great character work. And then that's when you get the man of 1,001 holds against Dean, and you get the good match with Booker T for the TV title. And right?
You made the list.
And Ralphus when he's going after Goldberg.
Yeah,
which is like you or me behind him with our guts sticking
fucking, up. Like the king of the loopholes, where he would lose the cruiserweight title, but he'd come out with a rule book, be like, "Oh, Dean Malenko wasn't wearing the right thong. I get the belt back." Or Dean Malenko forgot to shave his armpits. I get the belt back.
Yeah,
it's like it's like he was so cringy even back then, but it's just like he was hateable, and people paid to see him get his ass kicked, and he would get a great payoff. I mean, he would ruin it the next day by getting the belt back because he came out with some stupid rules or whatever. That's why they called him the king of the loopholes.
You know the thing I said about Malenko earlier and Benoit?
Yeah.
I take it back when it comes to Chris. Because you could have put him at that time when he was really going, you could have done him and Goldberg in the main event of a pay-per-view with the way he built that up. And it could have been a big money deal. Even with Goldberg beating the shit. Even with Goldberg.
He can talk on the mic.
Yeah. He was a great talker. You could have done him and Hogan somehow. Or him and Sting. Or him and I would have been intrigued to see that shit back then. Him and Brett. You could have done stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense to Dean, or like Dean's a great wrestler too. No offense, but like Jericho was kind of ready back then, and it took him having to leave because they would not give him an opportunity. But he was the best thing in the mid card for as long as he was there. Once he started doing the heel shit, he was the best thing in the mid card.
Oh, he had great feuds.
He had great feuds, and he was a great promo even back then. Like that's the first iteration of like Genius Jericho, because you go from that to Y2J to like, to heel to babyface rock star, back to like an arrogant douchebag heel, to, leaving, reinventing himself with the code breaker, Save Me, not that great, but then you get suited Jericho and it's the best he's ever done.
Yep. Then he got his New Japan stuff, and then
not even then you go List. You forgot about List. Very popular.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. List Jericho is a great run. And then you fucking get Les Champions. You get New Japan fucking Jericho and the Painmaker or whatever the fuck, and then you get Les Champions, a little bit of the bubbly, and Circle Jericho, which is still really good Jericho. Like I said, it's the cool thing to hate on him. people are gonna act like he wasn't one of the building blocks of AEW that made it successful, but he was.
He was.
And
He was the first big signing.
he was, and the gut and all. Like he was very popular. Like I said, it's cool to hate him now, but he was the fucking man.
And his entrance song before this one was over as hell because people sang it. I loved it.
Judas was the best.
Yeah.
Big mistake getting rid of Judas. But now, but yeah, WCW was his first run and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. At number 26, we have one of the GOATs, RIP, died last year. I had to inform Doug of that earlier.
I'm glad you did.
We have Terry Funk.
All right. So a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's on a WCW. Well, first of all, again, it's that 70s, 80s, and 90s. They see a name from the 70s and 80s, so they're going to put him on the list.
Probably don't read the whole thing, whole post. They just see a name.
Yeah. And that's fine. I'm not gonna fault anybody for that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not faulting anybody.
Too much. But here's what he did in WCW. Had the tremendous matches with Ric Flair.
Yes.
Okay. Including the I Quit match. Came back in 94. Him and Bunkhouse Buck and Arn Anderson formed the Stud Stable with Colonel Robert Parker as their manager. Had Ming and, had the feud with Dustin Rhodes. And then Terry's last match in WCW for 6 years was against him and Buck against the Nasty Boys, where Terry took the pile driver on the Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Okay. Comes back, and then when WCW's getting this hardcore division up and running, who do they look to? They look to Terry Funk to help out.
Yeah.
He had really good hardcore matches with some of the guys like Knobs and Finley and Bam Bam Bigelow and Ming. How he was able to survive Ming, I have no fucking clue. But he was a pioneer. Even like some of the crap that that was crap in WCW in 2000, when he had that hardcore title and like he was the only member of the Millionaires Club, even though he wasn't technically a member.
Yeah.
And he was the hardcore champion, and every week they were trying to get the belt off of him, and he kept winning. And they're like, oh my God, he survived again. And it took Bischoff booking himself to get the title
That's crazy.
The title coming off him. But he was fantastic.
Very good. Yeah, Terry was always, I mean, the matches with Flair, obviously, people remember, but
I know him for more ECW, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, and he was a legend there. But his WCW stuff, awesome. All right.
25.
You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Oh, Hall?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't call a noun an adjective, so Scott, or was it a verb?
Yeah.
Scott Hall?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Kevin Nash, when he said adjective play, but play is not an adjective. What is play?
Yeah. I have no clue. I didn't know this was going to become a fucking...
Number 25, Scott Hall?
Scott Hall. Let's talk about Scott Hall.
The former Diamond Stud.
Former Razor Ramon?
Well, he wasn't Razor Ramon here.
No, I know.
So you know what I mean now, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like infamous when Kevin Nash, you're making me look like a dickhead now. When Kevin Nash came out and he said fucking that's where the big boys play. That's the adjective play. We're not here to play. Play is a noun or a verb. It can be used as either of those, not an adjective.
Yeah.
But it's a fun thing. Like I said, I love Kevin Nash, but Scott Hall is the one that infamously said, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And that started the whole NWO.
Yep.
That bit got fucked up, but yeah, but he started the whole NWO. He is the building block for WCW making all that money. You don't do it without Hall. It's the most underrated man in the business. had great worker, should have won the title at least once, especially when you were flopping it around for 1,000 people. But Scott Hall, when he came out and he started the whole thing, and then he brought Nash out, and they started tearing shit up and making it more realistic. That's when WCW hit its peak, and it was, yes, the Hogan heel turn, but those guys were the building blocks, and you needed those guys for Hogan to turn heel. Perfect storm, and Scott Hall had a lot of good matches too. Yes, he had a lot of weird shit like the drinking stuff, and like him and Nash got a little, weirder as time went on. But like I said, the tag team division stuff against the Steiners was great. His World War III win was fun.
Yep.
Matches against Sting, matches against Chris Benoit, matches
DDP.
against Booker T,
Matches against Luger.
absolutely.
Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Macho Man. No, not Macho.
Not really Macho Man, but
Hector Garza.
when he put Hector over, when he put Hector and Jericho over.
Didn't he bring that up? Isn't there a story about that?
There was so originally the original finish to that match was he was gonna beat Hector.
Yeah.
But they were doing a thing where like he would like beat up the referees.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what if Garza gets a quick pin on me? And they're like, well, we're not really pushing Hector. He goes, well, this will still give him a good name. He goes, I'll beat him up after, but
Yeah.
let him beat me. And they're like, all right, if you want to take the loss, that's fine.
If you really want to lose.
Yeah. And he did. And then, he was so good when he was thinking straight.
Yeah.
Even during the whole thing where he was drinking, but he still had a hell of a match with Billy Kidman.
Yeah.
Yep.
He could put out a really good banger when he wanted to. He was like, I put him with Owen Hart to where when they wanted to have the best match on the card, they could. But sometimes you just got them going through the motions as well.
Oh,
Is that fair or no?
Oh, it's definitely fair. Well, Hall sometimes couldn't help it, especially when he was having issues. Owen just did it just to fuck with people.
Yeah, he did it for fun, but
Yeah.
I love that though.
Yeah. Owen did it just because he knew it was going to piss people off.
He's like, hey, we're gonna go lay an egg out there. They're both like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. All right, 24?
24.
All right, with 18 votes as well. I remember hating this fucking guy for turning on the Horseman. Fucking hating him.
Mr.
Kurt
Perfect.
Hennig.
Yep.
One of the most infamous heel turns in WCW history, for me at least, when Arn gave him his fucking spot, and oh my god, that was an emotional moment, and the Horseman in the ring, and it was such a big ordeal, and then them getting into War Games, and them trusting this fucking asshole. And then he beats the shit out of Flair. They're slamming Flair's head in the cage door. He's beating the fuck out of everybody, and he turns on the whole group. And he's out of all the NWO heel turns and shit, and the like people joining, I think this was one of the most effective.
Yeah.
Even though it happened a lot, this was the one to where it was a big deal. It's like, oh fuck, and it's like he turned back. And I know it might have been predictable at the time. For me as a kid, it wasn't though.
Yeah.
So it really, I was like, holy shit, no. And it was a good heel turn for the NWO. But also, he put on great matches. He really helped Buff get over later on.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of good stuff in WCW. I think as he gotten older, I think some people might have thought that he lost it. I didn't.
All right. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, and I'm going to make it quick because we still have 24 names to get through.
Yeah. And you almost body slammed Eric. So,
yeah. So, real quick. Well, tomorrow I'm going to suplex.
Haha, very funny, dog.
Anyway, but so quick story is the night of the retirement, I was staying at Nana and Baba's, and we were watching. Probably would. All he has to do is poke me in the eye, and I'd be like, I give up. You're a jerk, by the way.
I'm sorry.
So we're staying at Nana and Baba's, and The segment is getting ready to come. Yes, I am. This like they were getting ready to do something.
Yeah.
With the horseman, right? And all of a sudden, Papa comes in the room. He goes, "Hey, I know we're getting ready to watch wrestling, but we need you." I said, "For what?" And they're like, "Oh, the lady across the street, Miss Marion, locked herself out of her house." I said, "That's her own damn problem." They're like, "We got the window cracked open a bit. You're the only one that can fit through the window.
Like, I watch the
You
wrestling.
have to unlock the door." And I'm like, "Wrestling is on." And Bop is just like, they replay it at 11 o'clock. You and I will stay up till 1 and we'll watch it. All
I
right.
think you told me this story before.
Yeah. So even though like I didn't want to do it, I'm like, all right, let's get this over with. I got wrestling to watch. And Miss Marion goes, "But Dougie, I'm one of your favorite neighbors." I said, "All right, well, that's true. Let's do this." And the park owner at the time, Mr. Wasik, you know, elite Diplodoc's uncle, by the way.
Oh wow.
But so he picks me up and he basically throws me into the house, through the open window. I unlock it, then I run right back across the street, and right about then, that's when the Arn Anderson retirement speech was starting. So almost, if I would have dicked around, I probably would have missed it. But because wrestling was serious business to me back then, it's just like, gotta get back in there, gotta watch it, and thank God I did, because that was one hell of a moment.
Oh yeah. All right.
And what year was this?
97.
Okay. Nitro, right?
Yeah.
September? No.
August 25th. It's the Arn Anderson retirement speech.
We just passed the anniversary.
Yeah.
All right. Number 23, the leader of the LWO. Not Rey Mysterio. Not Selena Vega.
Not Dragon
Moving to Guerrero.
The captain of Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero. Great run back then. Good heel shit. I like the hair versus hair with Chavo.
That whole feud with Chavo was actually really good, and it probably shouldn't have been.
It was good.
So it was fantastic.
The feud of the E was good too.
Yeah.
But he's always had great feuds with Chavo. But Eddie he just always got it. He was always so like suave, the mullet, he was such a dickhead. Like he was a good bad guy. I think some of his babyface stuff was good too, but he didn't have much babyface stuff in WCW. I thought but when he was wearing the American jacket, or was that more ECW?
American Jacket was ECW.
Yeah, I really like the slime ball Eddie Guerrero, like him. Obviously, the Halloween Havoc with Rey Mysterio, we talked about it earlier, but he had so many more just epic matches, and I thought he had some good character work too.
When he started, because again, a lot of the guys, like, we've said it with Jericho, we've said it, and Alex Wright's another good example as a white meat babyface, but then they kind of find their stride as a heel. Eddie was kind of like as the white meat babyface. Eddie Guerrero was wrestling every Nitro.
Yeah.
Every freaking Nitro Eddie was on. He wasn't winning all of them,
but he was on it.
He was on because they were really trying to push him to the moon. And then when they gave him the Battle Bowl ring against Diamond Dallas Page, but then Page stole it from him right away. And then he beat Page for the U.S. title, and then Six stole that. But he got a run with the U.S. title. He got a couple runs with the Cruiserweight title. Eddie's just fantastic. And, yeah, you can't beat that 97 Halloween Havoc match.
Yeah, he was the tits. All right, next up. You got thoughts on Eddie, Eric?
Great guy. Great wrestler. Legendary. May he rest in peace.
I might stand up. My ass is hurting. All right. Number 22, we have with 19 votes, we have Ricky Morton.
All right. So
Richard Morton.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm taking
All right. For the rest of the show?
Yeah, fun.
This might be our longest show ever.
Yeah, I know. We're not getting charged for it. So Ricky Morton, one half of the Rock and Roll Express, he makes this list, and I think a lot of people are just like, really? He's this high? And he is, because a lot of people remember the good run he had early on. And yeah, as Richard Morton in the York Foundation, that's what a lot of people most remember him for in WCW. But as Richard Morton, like when he turned on Robert Gibson, like people were just like, "Oh my God, no!" Because he did it in Knoxville, Tennessee, his hometown.
Yeah.
So it was a sight to see, and it was one of those moments where it's just like, all right, you're really cementing him as a heel. And which is where, he did some pretty good work. And the York Foundation, short-lived, but they were, they were still kind of entertaining. I mean, yeah, could have used more mainstream guys, but you get what you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather him in the Rock and Roll Express. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would rather him in the Rock and Roll Express.
I mean, definitely a territory legend, or like a Mid-Atlantic legend. Was that where they were?
Mid-Atlantic Rocket.
I mean, the Midnight's in the Rock and Rolls. Like, Richard Morton is a fucking legend. I don't know if it's for the York Foundation, but
yeah,
I think he is one of the sleepers that is way too high on this list. That's just, I don't know.
Definitely.
It's way too fucking high.
Wait till we get in a few numbers.
All right.
Be right back.
No. He's going to go jerk. Number 21 with 21 votes fitting. We have Stunning Steve Austin.
One half of the Hollywood Blondes, former world television champion, had a long run with that championship belt, by the way. 10 months before he lost it to Wyndham.
Didn't do much afterwards.
You just said who I thought you said?
I bet after he left WCW.
Yeah.
Didn't really. Kind of like a Mark Jindrak.
You said Stone,
yeah,
you said Stone
stunning.
Cold, man.
Well, stunning Steve Austin, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just kidding. He's obviously the man. He becomes Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You're not going to get electrocuted, are you?
I hope not. But we'll see.
Whatever will be, will be. But yeah, no, he made this list.
I'm surprised.
What, that he made the list?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good run from 91 to 94. I mean, and then he was still there in 95, but that run wasn't as great. But I mean, might not have been a good end, but he had some memorable stuff, and like the stuff with him and Pillman as the Blondes.
Yep.
His US title run, his matches with Steamboat.
Yeah.
You can't shit on those. I mean, you could, but you'd be a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a great run. I think they should have done more with him. When he wanted to feud with Hogan, they should have let him.
Yeah.
I think that would have been good as him as a heel. The Hollywood Blonde. Yeah, the Steamboat stuff was probably the highlight. In the Hollywood Blonde. Hey, can I? In the Hollywood Blondes as well. Hollywood Blondes and the Steamboat stuff. And yeah, he was always very good.
Yeah. Eric realized that he wasn't finished jerking off, so he took himself off camera again.
No, I'm charging my phone, so I'm sitting on the floor, so I'm going to turn the camera off for now.
Well,
For the
you
rest
ready?
of the show, probably.
Eric, you ready for the most surprising pick at number 20? I'm way better with the mic.
Yeah.
Number 20 with 24 votes, we have Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
At 20.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think everyone would think he would be a top 10 for what he did. When
I thought he was going to be number 1.
But I think a lot of people blame him for the company's demise. So I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people will.
I thought he was going to be at least top 2. My other number 1 is I'm not going to say, but he's probably number 1 now.
Well, that would be wrong.
I mean,
okay.
he did mean a lot to the business, and he made them all that money. He was on top for it. Whether you hate it or talk shit about it, they were drawing fucking money. They were doing well, and the Hulkster was on top, fucking playing guitar with the belt, baby. Like the NWO chant with the fucking.
I think we're going to piss off a lot of Hulkamanias. There's still a lot of Hulkamanias out there.
He was the fucking man, and when Goldberg beat him in the Thunderdome, baby, it was the fucking cat's bananas. I'll tell you that much.
In the Georgia Dome?
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
But
that was my favorite moment for Goldberg.
The Thunderdome. Yeah, he did it in the pandemic.
The Georgia Dome.
We know, Eric.
Okay.
All right. I need an ibuprofen, Jesus Christ.
And you still got a long night ahead of you.
Yeah. Hollywood Hogan at number 20. Number 19, this was a tiebreaker win with 24 votes. We have Road Warrior Hawk.
Oh, what a rush.
You kind of look like him.
Wow. Number 19.
Number 19.
Ahead of Hulk Hogan. Wow.
And his partner was at 48.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It just goes to show that what happens when I actually remember to put a guy on both ballots.
What will happen?
Yeah. I'm still baffled that Hogan's number 20.
Yeah, wait till you see some of the other guys that beat him out.
I can think of 3 right off the top of my head. Yeah. That deserve it.
Yeah. All right, but let's give Hawk his flowers a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though I know we're getting tired.
Yeah. Hawk is one of the greatest tag team champions of all time.
Yeah.
Like I said with the Road Warrior pop, when we were talking about Animal, it helps when you're in the frame. There you go. Him and Animal fucking tore shit up. Especially like we saw at the Clash when he fucking showed up and started kicking ass. Everybody loved it. Yeah. Hawk was super over, and he was always the one that if they were going to split up, who was going to get the world title reign? It was going to be Hawk. Hawk was always the guy. Animal was great, but Hawk was the one that, and he's a wild motherfucker backstage doing coke and shit. But fucking when he got onto the ring, he kicked some ass, and he had the spikes and fucking what a rush, and the crowd loved it. The Road Warrior pop and WCW, like I said, the Road Warriors, they mean so much because when you talk about the NWA and Mid-Atlantic and stuff, it kind of goes into the history of WCW, and they're like the building blocks of it. So he definitely belongs. He deserves to be here, and yeah, I think he definitely deserves to be higher than Animal as well. I don't know about this much higher, but
yeah,
Hawk had a great run in WCW, probably his last good run.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Because of what time it is, you want to cut this off at 15?
I don't care. Where are we even at now?
Hawk was 19.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Number 18.
We're not getting through 18 in 22 minutes.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We can keep going. I might just have to hit up ibuprofen. All right. At number 18, we have Ravishing Recruit.
Simply ravishing. Meow. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the ravishing. I'm butchering this song. I don't look good in that song. I mean, he did, but anyway. Or Rude did. I mean, anyway. One of the longer reigning United States champions in that era, held the belt from November of 91 to fucking January of 93. Former international world champion. One of Sting's best rivals, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, I think other people would say.
Wait, there was an international championship before the international championship?
Yeah. Well, because they had the NWA title, and but the NWA withdrew from WCW, so they had the deal, but they had the belt, so they're like, all right, fine, we'll just call it the International World Title.
Yeah.
And Rude was holding it at the time, so he was technically considered the international champion.
That's just funny that
Yeah.
the international championship is back in wrestling.
Yeah. And the two Iron Man matches that happened at back-to-back Beach Blasts in 92 and 93, he was in both of them. The match with Steamboat and then the match with Dustin Rhodes.
Wow.
Now, he lost the one in 92 to Steamboat, but the one in 93 against Dustin Rhodes, it was a tie. And even though it was for the vacant U.S. title, they're like, you know what? We're not going to break it. We're not going to have sudden death. We're just going to end it and keep this storyline going. So,
simply ravishing. No, I think, yeah, this was his last good run too. And I mean, he did this stuff as like managerial stuff later on. Like he meant a lot. He is the guy that was on a Raw and a Nitro in like the same night. Because when like he was on one both programs in the same night. That's pretty bad fucking ass.
Yeah.
So I and the stuff earlier like 92, 93, Rude and the Heyman, the Dangerous Alliance, that some of the best stuff, some of the greatest WCW stuff, and their feud with Sting, his feud with Sting, and him as the world heavyweight champion or the international, whatever the fuck they were calling it. I thought his last really good run was at WCW. He deserves to be here. I'm glad he's here. I didn't think he would get this high. He deserves to be this high.
Oh,
I never thought he would beat Hogan, but holy shit.
Oh, yeah, that's like
I'm proud of everybody on that one.
Yeah, that was like holy.
Just kissed.
I'm not disappointed that Hogan is number 20. I'm just saying, I'm just surprised.
Me either.
I'm not a Hulkamania, so.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm definitely okay with it. I'm just surprised that like it happened that way.
Because I thought there was going to be a lot more Hulkamanias in the group.
Yes and no, because there are like a lot of Hogan haters out there. I mean, he made it like if he would have only made it like top 30, I would have been like, holy crap.
But he made top 20.
So. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not surprised.
Oh.
The 1986 Bears is one of the best football teams ever, right?
Yeah. Well, 85 Bears.
Fuck you. You wait till as soon as I send the text message.
Yeah, it's the 85 Bears.
Well, they still responded positive, so
yeah.
Someone will probably call me out on it. I needed you there.
We've been doing a show for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's the Kevin Nash adjective. You've been leaving me hanging all fucking night.
I'm here for you, Daniel.
Thanks, Eric.
And you too, Doug.
Oh, thank you.
To a point. No, I'm just joking.
I don't blame though. You've been a dick. Number 17. I'm so glad we get to talk about this guy. With 25 votes, we have Big Van Vader.
You know, and I actually personally thought the guy was going to make top 10. I mean, I'm just glad he made the list. But you know, 3-time WCW champion, former US champion. And yeah, like he had the matches he had with Sting, the matches he had with Cactus Jack and Flair, a couple of really good matches with Ron Simmons as well. I mean, yeah, he beat the crap out of some guys, and injured them, but you know, he still was the cornerstone of WCW in 1993. So he definitely deserves to be on this list.
For sure.
For sure.
Not gonna argue that.
Yeah.
We got another thumbs up.
We're killing it. All right. I'm guessing you're ready for the next one, Doug, since you're just looking at me.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, wait, there wasn't more on Vader? Him and Cactus, him and Sting.
Oh, I said
Vader
what
was better in WCW than he was in WWE,
Vader,
right?
I mean, fucking not only Japan, but WCW is his run. If you judge Vader on WWE, you can kiss my fat ass cheeks.
Yeah, I
Vader,
just said, yeah.
Vader is one of the probably the best big man of all time, and he because of his run in WCW.
Yeah.
Even though watching some of this shit and some of the I didn't love it, but the Sting stuff, he put Flair over and made Flair look great. He even made Hogan look great. He feuded with all the big names, and it was fucking awesome. And Vader's the fucking shit, and I'm so glad that he's this high.
And he was on a sitcom.
One of the
Boy
best
Meets World.
Yeah, he was on Boys Beach one of and he's one of the best WCW wrestlers of all time. He's one of the best WCW world champions of all time. Big Van Vader is the fucking shit.
I 100% agree.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Doug.
Jesus Christ. I agree with that too.
All right. At number 16 with 25 votes, won the tiebreaker. Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
Right.
What the fuck? Was he even in WCW?
Yeah. He
Wow.
So he did all the Crockett stuff. He came back in 92. By the way, this is another thing we could fucking blame Jimmy for. And I told him that earlier. I said, just so you know, you're taking, like, you can take credit if you want, but we might give you blame.
I'm blaming him.
Like I said, he doesn't like you anyway.
Hey, he doesn't even know me.
It was your blowage of Barry Horowitz.
Oh, look who's talking. Not you, but him.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's blowing Nikita.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Nikita came in. He was part of that 92 War Games match where he was on Sting's team. And ironically enough, when he, his last match in WCW was against Vader, because Vader, you know, I think it was a shoulder injury that took Nikita out. He couldn't wrestle anymore. So, yeah, it was a brief run in WCW, but again, because it's an 80s name, they're like, all right, you know, we want this guy in.
All right. We're moving on. All right?
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Number 15.
All right?
Yeah.
We're moving on. All right, let's move on. Number 15. With 26 votes, we have one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Damn! Ron Simmons. The first African-American world champion ever. Big moment in history. Ron Simmons is the fucking man. His like one big main event run. He didn't really get that in WWE, but he got it here, and he beat Vader for God's sakes. That's badass.
Yeah.
And you know, the matches with Luger, like he had some good shit.
You know, matches with Cactus.
Yes.
He technically main evented a pay-per-view against the Barbarian.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, technically, because it was the last sanctioned match of the show, so they call it the main event. It was actually a pretty good match.
Well, there you go.
I mean, not good enough to get the Barbarian on this countdown, but yeah, oh well. But as far as Ron goes,
damn,
some of the matches he had, especially like you go back in the matches with Vader, the matches with Rude, had a couple of good matches with Paul Orndorff for the TV title in '93.
Yeah.
He was just like, he was such a a transitional athlete, and he to go from college football to wrestling and succeed. He was just one of the greats, and definitely deserves to make this list. And I'm not surprised he's top 20 or top 15 even.
Top 15. Yep. I'm not surprised either.
All right. Are we gonna keep going, or
I was gonna say we're 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and we probably have like another half hour, 45 minutes worth of work here.
Probably an hour.
I have a fantasy draft coming.
Yeah, you have a fantasy draft coming. We've got probably a good enough to go for an hour next week. So you want to just,
or we could go tomorrow with our all-in review.
I mean, yeah, we finish it tomorrow, and because also when tunes combine, and
we can combine all review with that.
I'm cool with that.
With this, or with when tunes combine?
With this.
Oh, and then do tunes combine. Like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right.
Probably can do this at 5 o'clock, and then when tunes combine.
Yeah, right after.
Like and subscribe, everybody. This has been a great time. I had a lot of fun tonight.
So did I.
It was a blast.
You thought that this part of the list was nuts so far. Wait till we get to this time. We're going 14 through 1, right?
Yeah.
So 14 through 1 is going to be, hey, Eric. 14 through 1 is gonna be nuts with some of the guys that are in this top 10. I can guarantee you.
I agree. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. When tunes combine tomorrow, and the Unscripted Wrestling Podcast.
At Wrestling Through the Years.
Oh, yeah, the wrestling. I'm getting fucking tired, boys. Keeping my big ass up. The Wrestling Through the Years podcast. Like and subscribe. Check it out tomorrow. We have our top 15 or the bottom 15, whatever the fuck you want to call her. And
14 through 1.
There you go.
He was 15. He was 15.
Yeah, he was. So we're 14 through 1 tomorrow, and our AEW All-In review. Make sure to bring your tissues, Eric, because you're going to be coming. We'll see everybody next time. And if you don't like us, have a good one. We'll see everybody next time.
Bye, boys.